या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्मै 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 नमो नमः. I bow the goddess who dwells in all the beings as mother. Namaste, a very good morning to all. I am Girija Navalimat, Research Scholar, Department of Economics, Karnataka State Akka Women's University. I heartily welcome you all today's one-day national conference on women development in the context of liberalization, held in the remembrance of Maria Mais, organized by the UGC Women's Studies Center, Department of Sociology, Department of Economics and Social Work of Karnataka State Akka Women University, Vijaypur. It is a privilege for us to be gathered at the Karnataka State Akka Women University, Vijaypur. We come together today to honor the legacy of Maria Mais, a pioneering scholar who championed women's development. Our esteemed university, named after the revolutionary 12th century poet and saint Akka Mahadevi, who provides a fitting backup as we explore the critical concept of women's development, particularly in the context of liberalization. Through this discourse, we aim to bridge the gap between Maria Mai's valuable insights and the contemporary realities faced by women in a globalized world. Women are the real architect of the world. समाज का आधार, प्रगति का सार, नारी शक्ति का जयकार पुकार. समाज का आधार, प्रगति का सार, नारी शक्ति का जयकार पुकार. Now I invite music department students to pray a women's song.
ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಜಾತಿ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಕುಲ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಮತ, ನಾವು ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಜಾತಿ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಕುಲ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಮತ, ನಾವು ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು.
vibes to our conference, which boosted women development even more. Now I request Dr. Suresh KP, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Karnataka State Akka Women University, to deliver a welcome speech.
Is on the dais and off the dais. It is with immense pleasure and great anticipation that I extend warm welcome to all of you to the one-day national conference on women development in the context of liberalization, jointly organized by the Department of UGC Women's Studies Center, such as Ahalya Bai Postgraduate Center for Women's Studies, Research and Extension, and Department of Sociology, Department of Economics, and Department of Social Work. On the occasions of International Women's Day 2024, as per the UNO theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, and Remembrance of and Memories of Maria Mias, who passed recently 15th May 2023. She was a great Marxist feminist scholar as well as an activist contributing immensely for women's studies and social movement. It marks a significant moment as we gather here to deliberate on the issues, importance and advancement of women in the era of liberalization context. In this perspective, it is my privilege and honor to welcome all the dignitaries and all the participants from various disciplines. It's given me a great honor to welcome much delegated to wholeheartedly welcome to the great scholar, chief guest and keynote speaker, Professor Mani Mekalai Madam, Director, Center for Women's Development Studies, New Delhi. On behalf of the university, on behalf of the organizer, on behalf of the Department of all Social Science Wing, I wholeheartedly welcome you, Madam. Now I am requesting our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, to felicitate our chief guest of this occasion. We thought that she is the right chief guest and keynote speaker for this one-day national conference on the women development in global context. Thank you, ma'am. It's given me a great honor to welcome our President of this inaugural function, Professor B.K. Tulsimala Madam, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Akka Women's University, Vijaypura, presiding over the function on behalf of the Department of all organizers and on behalf of myself, and it's my heart wholeheartedly welcome you, Madam. Now I am requesting to the convener, Professor Lakshmi Devi Madam, to felicitate our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Thank you, ma'am. And also, I heartily welcome to our Register Sri Shankar Gowda Somnal sir, and Register Evaluation Professor Chandrasekhar HM sir in the absence of. I also welcome you, sir. And I heartily welcome you, our I heartily welcome to today's National Conference resource person, Professor, Dr. Sanjyoti VK, Madam Filmmaker and Assistant Professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, Bangalore. Now I am requesting to felicitate our Honorable Vice Chancellor to our chief guest. Thank you, ma'am. I wholeheartedly welcome to one more resource person, Srimati Sharada Patil, founder and chairperson, Aditya Foundation, Dharwad. On behalf of the organizers, on behalf of the university, I wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. Now I am requesting to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, to felicitate to our resource person, Srimati Sharada Patil, Madam. And also I wholeheartedly welcome to special invitees of NGOs, Srimati Suman Kolar Madam. On behalf of the organizers, on behalf of the university, I wholeheartedly welcome you, Madam. Now I am requesting to our convener, Professor Lakshmi Devi Madam, to felicitate to our special invitees of NGOs, Srimati Suman Kolar Madam. Thank you, ma'am. I also wholeheartedly welcome to special invitee of NGOs, Sona Bai Koni Madam, NGO, Srimati Sona Bai. I also wholeheartedly welcome to special invitee of NGOs, Vimalakshi Iremat. Thank you, ma'am. I also heartily welcome to our Dean Faculty of Social Science, Professor Shanta Devi Madam. On behalf of the university, on behalf of the organizers, I wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And also I heartily welcome to the convener of this one-day national conference, Professor Lakshmi Devi Vai Madam. Now I am requesting to Professor Shanta Devi Madam to felicitate. Thank you, Kalavati Madam and Lakshmi Devi Madam. And also I heartily welcome to the convener of this one-day national conference, Professor R.V. Gangshetty Sir, Chairman, Department of Economics. I heartily welcome you, sir. On behalf of the organizer, on behalf of the university, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. Now I am requesting to Professor Dr. Vishnu Shinde sir to felicitate to our organizer of this event. Thank you so much, sir. I also request, wholeheartedly thankful to our organizer of this event, Professor Son Kamlesh sir. On behalf of the organizers, on behalf of the university, I heartily welcome you, sir. Now I am requesting to Professor Vishnu M. Shinde sir. And also heartily welcome to Professor MP Baligar sir. On behalf of the organizers, on behalf of the university, I heartily welcome you, sir. Now I am requesting. Thank you so much, sir. So, finally, it is a great pleasure to welcome to all the dignitaries of the dais and audience and participant delegates and academicians, syndicate members and the chairmen and coordinators and the scholars and students, all directly, indirectly who are supporting the successful event of this program. Once again, heartfully thankful to all of you. Once again, I wholeheartedly welcome to all dignitaries on the dais and of the dais. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh KP sir, for your heartfelt warm welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais. Now I request Professor Lakshmi Devi Vai, Director, Women's Studies Center, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women's University, to deliver preface.
Good morning to all. Dignitaries on the dais, and my dear friends. It is a great sense of pleasure to present preface in front of you of the seminar. Karnataka State Akmadevi Women's University, Vijaypur, Ahalya Bai Postgraduate Women's Studies Research and Extension Center, in collaboration with Economics, Sociology and Social Work, organized one-day national conference in the remembrance of Maria Mies on the theme Women Development in the Context of Liberalization. The current theme is very relevant in the present context. India is the world's largest democracy in the world, and it is almost half of the world's population. But women are not considering as contributors of economic growth. The present contribution of women to the national GDP is around 18% in India. Women comprise 48% of the agricultural workforce and own only 13% of the land. Women in India constitute around 20% of the manufacturing workforce and around 30% of the total workforce in the service sector. So, in this context, today's conference will view on these issues. And we called papers for publishing with the ISBN. Almost so far, more than 80 articles have been received, and it will be launching in this function. As a keynote speaker, Professor N. Manime Clyde, Director, Center for Women's Development Studies, New Delhi, has accepted our invitation coming all the way from Delhi to Vijaypur, that too at the age of 60 plus. Madam, we are very much thankful to you for accepting our invitation. Two more resource persons will be delivering their lecture on women education and employment. Sharda Patil will going to share views in this function. Madam Sharda Patil, founder and chairperson, Aditya Foundation, Dharwad, will delivering the lecture on women education and employment. Professor Shanta Devi, Dean Faculty of Social Science, will be the chairperson, and Dr. Kalavati Kamble, Assistant Professor, Social Work Department, will be the rapporteur of the session. One more resource person, Dr. Sanjoti VK, filmmaker and Assistant Professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, Bangalore, will delivering the lecture on understanding women development and empowering in the context of liberalization. Dr. G. Saubhagya will be the chairperson of the session, and Dr. Bhakti Mahindrakar will be the rapporteur of the session. So in this context, today's function will be the two session, and it will only inauguration will be here, and two sessions will be there in the social science building. So I thankful for you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Lakshmi Devi, Madam. Now I request all the dignitaries on the dais to honor the portrait of Maria Mies with flowers.
Kavigale nimagina chappale,
Let us stand together and make this world a wonderful place. Let us stand together and make this world a wonderful place, not just for us, but for the future generations as well. To only one earth and giving more time for nature. Now I request all the dignitaries to water the plant. With that, our conference will be inaugurated. Thank you all the dignitaries on the dais. The nature and the women, both are similar. The nature is also having beauty and women is also having beauty. So let the nature and women both grow together and save the earth and save the respect and interest of the women. Now I request Dr. Bhagyashri Dodmani, Assistant Professor, Women's Studies Center, Karnataka State Akka Women University, to introduce the guest speaker of this conference.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ದಿಕ್ಸೂಚಿ ನುಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಆಡಲು ಆಗಮಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎನ್ ಮಣಿಮೈಕ್ಲೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರ ಕಿರುಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಸದಾವಕಾಶ ನನ್ನದಾಗಿದೆ. ಎನ್ ಮಣಿಮೈಕ್ಲೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಈಗ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಮಹಿಳಾ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದು, ಇವರ ಕಿರುಪರಿಚಯ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಸ್ನಾತಕೋತ್ತರ ಮತ್ತು PhD ಪದವಿಯನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. 30 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಸಂಶೋಧನಾ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಹಾಗೂ 26 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತಲೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬೋಧನಾ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಲಾ ನಿಕಾಯದ ಡೀನರ್ ಆಗಿ, ಭಾರತೀಯರ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಸಿನೆಟ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿ, NSS ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮದರ್ ಥೆರೇಸಾ ವಿವಿಯ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ನಾಮಿನಿ ಸಿನೆಟ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ವಿವಿಧ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಆಡಳಿತ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಭಾಯಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯ ಸಂಶೋಧನಾ ವಲಯಗಳೆಂದರೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ, ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಅರ್ಥಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ, ಉದ್ಯಮಶೀಲತೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ 17ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು PhD ಹಾಗೂ 50ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು MPhil ಪದವಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಂಥ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 100ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸ್ನಾತಕೋತ್ತರ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದಂಥ ಅನುಭವ ಈ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬುಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಮೆನೋಗ್ರಾಫ್ಗಳನ್ನು 330ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಲೇಖನಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪೇಪರ್ಗಳು ಪ್ರಕಟಣೆಗೊಂಡಿವೆ. ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಮತ್ತು UGCಯಿಂದ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಂದ ಅನುದಾನಿತ 70ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಪೂರ್ಣಗೊಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 130ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್, ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ ಮತ್ತು ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 350ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿದೇಶಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪಠ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ರಚನೆಯ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಲಹಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ, ಸಂಪಾದಕ ಮಂಡಳಿಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಿದಂಥ ಅನುಭವ ಮಣಿಮೈಕ್ಲೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರದಾಗಿದೆ. UGCಯಿಂದ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡನ್ನು 2001ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಂಗ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡನ್ನು ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಸ್ಟ್ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನಿಂದ 2006ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಕರ್ ಆಗಿ ತಿರುಚನಾಪಳ್ಳಿಯವರ ಆತ್ಮ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ನಿಂದ 2009ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೀಗೆ 17ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಂತಹ ಅನುಭವ ಇವ್ರದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಂತೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನಾ ಅನುಭವ, ಬೋಧನಾ ಅನುಭವ ಮತ್ತು ಇತರೆ ಅನುಭವಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದಂತಹ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ವಿಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿ ಮೆರುಗನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Thank you, Bhagyashri Dodmani, for introducing dynamic personality of this conference. It's my immense pleasure to invite the inaugurator and keynote speaker of this function, Professor N. Mani Maiklai, Director, Center for Women's Development Studies, New Delhi, to address the gathering.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, the Registrar and other administrative faculty members, and the fellow speakers invited from various places, the organizers, the organizing committee which come from 3-4 departments. That is what it should be, that Women's Studies Center collaborates with economics, sociology, social work, and also some research center, and the faculty colleagues who really put in their hard efforts in organizing not only this conference but the other co-events that is happening for the past few days, and it will be ending on 8th March. And guest of honors, the deans, the faculty members of the co-organizing department. I really appreciate and congratulate the organizing committee from various departments for conceiving this conference with the theme. One is remembering Maria Mais, and also the women's development in the liberalization context, which is an important theme. And I would like to also thank for inviting me. It is of course very far, but still I always take this as an opportunity to interact with the students, and I'm happy that papers have also been received from various institutions. I just heard that there are 150 colleges affiliating to this university, so that is huge. Like in our university, when I was there in Bharatas University also, that has around 156 colleges affiliating. What I did was, as Women's Studies Director when I was there, I've influenced the curriculum committee, the university's curriculum committee cell, to introduce foundation course on gender studies to all the undergraduate programs. So in our 156 colleges or so, in all third year UG, there is a paper, compulsory elective. Elective itself is optional, but it is called compulsory elective. So the gender studies foundation course is being offered, and I request the Vice Chancellor also to think over to integrate gender studies into all the curriculum, because we are in the era of very much, I am sorry to say this, the dying social sciences, and that context also I appreciate these 4 departments coming together to organize this conference. And if you take here also, the case must be like private institutions often do not focus on social sciences, and they are into kind of new courses, and in the new courses also the emerging in science or social science or management, they concentrate on those programs which are able to kind of in their definition bring more students and appear to be employment oriented, etc. In that process we are kind of losing the existence of social sciences. From Tamil Nadu I can quote at least around 70% of the colleges and the university, not university, I mean even private universities, the absence of economics, minimum, I am also from economics, the queen of social science, and sociology, social work. At least social work is accepted as a professional course in terms of fetching employment, but not the other programs. History is there in certain institutions because it is really part of the civil service, and therefore in some colleges it is there. Otherwise it's very rare to see, except the institution, the state institution institutions or central institutions where you have all some other branches of social sciences, including all these four, and the psychology, anthropology, public administration, political science, etc. So it is time to also, last week I was there in an ICSR institute at Chandigarh. We were discussing for 2 days the social science research, the significance, the need and contribution of social science research to the policy. The whatever policy, particularly we can talk about women also, that is one thing where women studies centers, particularly where I am from, Center for Women's Development Studies is a pioneering institution for women's studies, directly initiated by ICSSR, and then based on the recommendations of the people, stalwarts in the women's movements and women's organizations, the UGC also initiated women's study centers, and now the reality is that we have around 171 women's study centers across the country. So in that perspective, whatever policy which we have, they are all being contributed by women's movements, women's organizations, and I can strongly say the Center for Women's Development Studies, which is a pioneering institute for women's studies in India. And therefore, there is a need to reiterate that more and more social science, because without social sciences, public policy cannot be conceived. Science and technology are important, management are important, but equally important is social sciences. So I once again emphasize that we need to also equally introduce and also find opportunities for students, because students don't come for some courses, programs, because there is lack of opportunities, and so therefore all efforts to be made. And we have been, even for women's studies, in representing to government of Tamil Nadu to integrate women's studies into the recruitment boards of various, I think Karnataka government is already doing that, and Kerala also is being done. So that kind of, because people see what is the way out. When I finish my program, where I will get job, NGOs are there. There are also UN organization, your national organization, which all women component projects and programs, but still there is kind of, I know the employment also, somebody will be talking on employment also. What kind of employment are we in, and what is the percentage of women's participation itself is to be discussed. So in that context, I appreciate also integrating or remembering Mariamma is here. I just emphasize two important aspects of Mariamma and move to the title proper. Mariamma is the basically it was a good gesture, and I don't know whether it was deliberately talked or accidentally combining both the nature and women here, and that was her focus also. She is basically an eco-feminist, Marxist feminist, and also eco-feminist. She compares how the women's questions are being discussed and over the years not taken to the center. See, in women's studies we put women into the center of argument. It is not happening in other sciences and social sciences particularly. So she put that into women's questions. So basically attacking the capitalist patriarchy. Patriarchy is in different form. Patriarchy prevails everywhere. It is not just with the capitalist patriarch. You have family patriarch, you have capitalist patriarch, you have also other areas, whether it is the institute, whatever the institutions, you have caste patriarchy is there, the class patriarch, the religious patriarch. So everywhere, wherever it is the kind of dominant order in all these institutions, the dominant order is the person or the group will be only with a few will be deciding everything, and that is what patriarchy is not just present with men, it is also equally with the women. So I make it clear that whoever is dominant, not allowing everyone to be there and democracy democratic enough to exercise the duties would be definitely marginalizing the others and excluding someone, discriminating the others. So these kind of issues will not be, whether it is discrimination biases between gender or between caste or between classes or religion or race or ethnic and the culture, different regional culture, it cannot be democratic whenever there is discrimination. And the gender inequality report, gender gap report, which is being produced by World Economic Forum for India and the assignment of Niti Aayog, every year brings out the gender gap report, and it says that now we have 23 gender gap report, the 24 will shortly be available. So 23 report says that India is in 177th position compared to, out of 146 countries, and the worst performing, there are 4 variables. So one is the education, the health, the economic participation, political participation, where economic participation is the worst. So that is the sorry state of affair. And is it mean that the women do not work? No. Women do work, but still they are not counted as workers. Most of the, I could say that it is only 23% till 21, and now slowly increased to slightly more, and that too because of the rural employment. And you all know that MNRGS, the Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Scheme, is very much prevailing, and that is capturing, and therefore this recent 22-23 PLFS, Periodic Labour Force Surveys report says that it is touched to 37%, and rural employment alone is 41%. But 2005 it was 49% for women. So it is not to that, but even then, if you take the average, it is only 20 plus, it is below 30, that is what I should say. And of the 100 women, only 30 women are in employment, and that too mostly means 90+% are in informal sector. We can take any university system or any other formal system also, informalization is taking. When I go as a permanent professor, faculty, then I am in the formal sector. My research assistant or guest faculty is an informal sector worker, or she will be covered by that norms only. There is no social security, and that will be paid. I am talking here in the higher education institution, but it is happening to a construction worker also. It is happening to even sanitation worker also. I am taking up a project currently on sanitation women workers, wherein the appointment hasn't happened for a long, so it's all contracts. Only 20% are in permanent category. The rest are contract, and you know what is the contract system, and contractualization also is informalization, contract casualization. So Mariam Mize emphasize all on this. That is, the paid work only is counted as productive work. Unfortunately, since 1981 census, we could include some certain kinds of work to productive work of women, which are what you call value-added work, where there is value addition. But there also it is not taking all the works into account. So in that context, what Mariam Mize uses a terminology called housewifiization. That is, you are working, but your work is not being counted. You sit back and work, and so your work, whatever you deliver at home, is not counted as work. I am talking about the home-based work also. So she includes everything. So in that context, it is what is she says is that it is housewifiization. She conducted a study in Naraspur and found that lot of women working back at home and involved in or engaged in making laces, and that doesn't get counted also. So those days it was all BD workers, or even in Tamil Nadu you have this textile belt, Tirupur, Coimbatore, Karur Road, Madurai, Dindikal. This is an integrated textile and garment. Now only people go there and work, and earlier people bring the product here and they stitch and give them back. It is still happening, but not in large number. So those works are not counted as work. That is what she argues. So that is the major one important point I want to emphasize, and that in the liberalization context, she worked very much since 93. Since liberalization, 91 onwards, you opened up the economy, the entire structural changes happened, and completely making goods and services move in and out. You can invite people from outside, goods and services coming, also going out. That is what I mean. It's a complete shift from the closed economy to open economy. And more and more private. You had only 11% for the private sector to participate earlier, but now it is the reverse. The state is only participating the minimum and private is the maximum. And in the process, what is happening is the unaccounted for this work. And in the private sector, this is very important, that her contribution. This unpaid care work and domestic work delivered by the women is the subsidy paid to the corporate sector. That is very important, very, very, very minute argument. Like in Dubai, I read in some articles that there many means mostly 100% men only will be there. Migrant workers here, the family will be left and they will be going there, and therefore the companies saw to that the workers report to the factories or companies early, and therefore what they did was they introduced, instead of making the men to engage in household work, because men only there, whether it is cooking or washing or whatever the other socially reproductive activities. That is what Mariamma is also termed social reproductive activities. So they are paid by the companies. That laundryman will come and collect the clothes and he will wash or she will wash and cook. The food is being served there in the company itself, breakfast to other, so that you need not have to spend much time in, otherwise you will be reporting to the office late. So this is the same argument we have been doing. We have been arguing that the work, unpaid care work should be counted, and therefore the women's time will be available for their productive purposes. And also, for example, if this kind of payment is done, for example, in the salary itself, the companies can pay 5,000 extra for the kind of work delivered by the woman. That is what it is being argued in the unaccounted unpaid care work for women. And thanks to some governments, thanks to my own Tamil Nadu government also is paying 1,000 rupees recently for the past 6-7 months towards recognizing the unpaid care work. This has been one of the major concerns of women's studies, and now Delhi government, couple of days back, it also announced, and Goa is already paying 2,000 rupees. So that is the recognition for the unpaid care work, and that if those things are all counted, then the women's economic participation would be definitely higher, but they are not being counted. So she says that this subsidy, the women's unproductive care and domestic work, which is otherwise technically called as social reproductive activities of the women, are supposed to be taken as subsidy paid to the corporates, and the housewiferization, that is because the work is not. So these are the two important major. There are other. She compares how the environment is deteriorating because of you are making them over and over again. I am seeing the place here, how dry it is. It would have been very green earlier. So it is because of the kind of impact we experience in the climate change context, the environmental depletion is happening. And she employs the same kind to the women also. You are making the women work further and further. And recently, Sherin Roy from London School of Economics also in the Center for Women's Development Studies presented her work, depletion of connecting to paid and unpaid care work, where unpaid care work delivered by women, which is not accounted on the one hand and also not recognized, or it is invisible, and at the same time this is the new perspective, that is it is contributing to the depletion. You will exhaust yourself when you go on and on, completely engage in your work, because in the present context there may be 4 members, they will be demanding 4 kinds of whether it is some soft drinks to food to whatever. So everything is attended by the woman. I am talking about the entire women, not the elite women who could be in a position to hire services. So this is one aspect which I wanted to. And the second is about in the liberalization context, what is happening. So one major thing, like I already told, there was a structural adjustment totally and shift in the paradigm shift in the economic policy, and as a result now there is a shift in the sectoral contributions also. It was already emphasized here. Like any path of development should be first the primary sector and should grow. As a result of that, the secondary processing will start, so industrial sector, and as a result of agriculture and industrial sector's growth, you will end up with service sector emerging. But what is happening now, particularly after, of course, 1960s onwards, industrial retrogression started, and you are not able to really bring back the industrial development to the original 1951, because that second plan, 5-year plan, was very much emphatic on industrial development. Large-scale industries were all across the country were initiated. But this 91 onwards, there you also change the policy, liberalization, globalization, privatization. So you had from the very restrictive trade to liberal trade, and to the close to the open economy. So in this context, service economy grown to a maximum extent, and if now you see the proportion is close to 50% GDP is from service sector and other 25 each from industrial and agriculture sector. This is not the established pattern of industrial development, pattern of economic development, whatever it called. So on the one hand, there are a number of opportunities thrown out during this in the context of globalization, but it is the survival of the fittest. Whether it is a small industry to micro enterprises to the large scale, whether it is the women, men, of course we talk about gender, means it is all the total gender spectrum, including transgender, the entire LGBTQ, and also you have people like elderly, you have disabled, and you have other people also. So it has to be inclusive. We are talking about inclusive growth for the past decade or so, but unfortunately the policies, the existing policies are not really contributing to inclusive growth, in the sense it is throwing opportunities to many, but you have to be ready enough to utilize it. And if you are not performing to the expectations, because in the privatization context, it is the productivity matters, the efficiency matters, and therefore when the moment you are not delivering the goods, you will be given thank God next day. So your employment is so uncertain whether you will continue in the same organization next day or not. And given this, the other major shift is in the service sector itself. Now it is more and more opportunities are coming, and you experience feminization of labor. On the one hand, feminization of poverty is also one important factor, because the shift from agriculture to service sector, agriculture failure led many households there in the rural context to migrate to urban, and therefore what is happening, either entire households, families have migrated either within the country or outside the country, or daily commuting. I was talking about the export processing zones, so those particularly garment and textiles, so they capture to at least some 50 kilometers radius area. They commute buses, apply buses to commute, make the workers commute, and every day they come and go. The other pattern, I am talking all these from the evidences of my own research, and the other component is that entire family will come and settle in Tirupur, Karur or Erode or Coimbatore. So this is, apart from this kind of migration or daily commuting, you also have the men migrated abroad. So in this context, the women remaining there are kind of attending the work, which is called, there are two kinds of migration. One is prospective and the other is distress or aspiration, about of aspiration. If it is prospective migration, it's good. It is going to bring you a lot of remittances to the country. NRIs will remit. But if it is distress, means like which I just described, the women who are left here in the villages or in other parts of urban also, they continue to share the existing opportunities, what we call in economics disguised unemployment. So they only 10 can share that work, but some 20 are there or 30 are there, they are forced to share that work because there is unemployment. So it in a way implies that there is feminization of labor, because more and more women are working, and if more and more women are working with independent share, it's good, but here it is being shared with others, otherwise available to others, and therefore it is not it is called a distress migration, feminization. And migration also, you have a distress migration. When there is failure, monsoon failure, the land has been converted into different uses, including real estate or commercial crops, or very, it is not fit for cultivation, and therefore you are forced to migrate, and therefore it is a distress migration. And in this context of migration, recently, there is another shift is also taking place in the liberalization context. In the morning, I also witnessed here and here that it was, again I am going back to the export processing. So one example I am giving is the garment factory, garment and textile factories, wherein in the earlier context, the local employment, local employees were captured, local workers available in the same city, same state were captured. But now it is more than 50%. It was estimated recently, 52% of them are from other states, and mostly coming from, I am talking about these Tirupur, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu textile factories only. They are drawn from Bihar, Orissa, Jharkhand, Bengal, West Bengal. Orissa is the most, and Bengal, Northeast also, then some amount of Rajasthan. So that is why you can see now everywhere. I saw in the morning in the hotel also, North Indians are being here. And you know the kind of exploitation taking place. So it permits within the state, this liberalization context, you are drawing from the laborers from various places, and they don't know language, and they may be given long hours of work, they may be paid less, it is not going unaccounted or uncounted at all. So they can't, in the private context, you can't go for unionization. These were the features of earlier state employment, but in the private context, you cannot have unions, and these vulnerabilities are further reinforced there, or it is double time re-emphasized there for the women. Men and women migrate, and migrant men themselves are being exploited in those sectors, and now you see in everywhere, not only in those export processing zones. So on the one hand, we appreciate, okay, it is throwing employment to many, but at what cost? COVID has lessened us, this pandemic has lessened us how the return migration took place, and now MNRJ, more and more allocation has also been given to Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Scheme. Recently in this budget, interim budget, it was not done, but it was, the demand is coming very much from different parts of the country, different parts of the same, because it is only covering to rural area. So on the one hand, thanks to even this MNRG, I should share that story for implementing that scheme. It was, I had an opportunity to discuss with Saida Hamid, who was one of the members of Planning Commission. Planning Commission is no longer now, it is Niti Aayog, but I am talking about a decade back, or more than a decade back. She visited, being the Planning Commission member, there were only 2 women members, and she was the one. She came down to all the states, extremely vulnerable districts, sat with the women and discussed, and she was very much emphatical to inform the policy makers to implement the scheme. And that is why it is there. Now it has been taken by other government also, it is continuing. So it is a blessing in the disguise, because without these 100 days of employment, the rural will definitely suffer. And in the women development context also, we have shifted from women in development, where women were treated as welfare beneficiaries, etc., to gender and development, where we are seeing women as agents of development. So that is the shift, which is really appreciated, and we do have schemes which are now recognizing women's agency. I can give 2-3 examples which recently government introduced there in Tamil Nadu, I am saying. your free bus scheme. That is really helping the working class, because I did that evaluation for State Planning Commission of Tamil Nadu, where working women from one place to other, they mobile, now there are a lot of dynamics. They take two buses to go to long distances to get more wage facing employment, and they also reduce the household expenditure. They go to the market little far, where the price would be lower, and the men in the families also were very much happy, because the women are not asking for the transport expenses, and they visit the places of their the parents, the temple, worshiping places, whatever. So it is facilitating their mobility and also contributing to economic participation with the higher wages. And the other scheme is, I think you are aware, that 1,000 rupees for the girls who are joining the graduation, who completed their school from 6th to 12th class in the government school. Now it is going to be extended to the aided schools also. So that is really motivating the girls to join higher education. There are two objectives. One is to make the girls to continue higher education, and because always it is a question, when the women's studies perspective, I can say the parents will see the girls' expenditure alone as the big budget for them, as if it is going to take away larger budget in them, whether it is the lower income group or higher income group. They don't mind sending the boys abroad and get the education from the professional institutions, but these girls, they will be going sent here to the government institutions with the low pay, whatever course which is available with the low fees, etc. Or they refrain from sending them to school, higher education. So thanks to this initiative, that 1,000 rupees is being paid, and now my own department is doing the evaluation of the same. It is going on. So in one college, around say for example there are 3,000 intakes, at least some 300 to 400 students are drawn from, because the condition is also you have to be from government schools. So this is really recognizing, on the one hand your admission there in the government schools are low and you are attending, and on the other you are making the girls to join the higher education. So two things are happening. And the third thing is you all know that unpaid care work payment, 1,000 rupees, that is not going as it is even Tamil called Urimai Togai. That is for it is a right to claim. So now the government is compensating for or accounting for the unpaid care work, and these three schemes were implemented recently, and I see them as recognizing the women's agency, not women as beneficiary as it was done in the past. So that shift, on the one hand the sectoral shift, more and more service sector economy, and the service sector, it is informalization. That is one of the features. So on the one hand I really appreciate in the liberalization context there are large number of employment opportunities, and that is why we call it as feminization of labor. But what system? That is the contract system. Whether it is in the agriculture sector or the other sector, in the urban context also, contract, whenever you go, I did study with the construction sector worker, particularly the informal sector worker, the access to sanitation needs for women. So in that it was so pathetic to see the construction workers, because of the rural failure of employment or non-farm employment availability, they come to cities and they commute for about 100 kilometers one way and going back another 100 kilometers every day, and they assemble in a place, I'm talking there in Trichy, where I am coming from, that at least just around 7:30 morning you will find that 4,000 to 5,000 workers, both men and women, present there, and a contractor will come and offer the work, and they have to spread to different places. And 7 o'clock means they have to get up in the morning. At what time they have to get up? They have to get ready everything for the so-called social reproductive activities and proceed by bus or trucks, because the cost in the bus will be very, because city buses are only free. And what happened, they don't use the, because there is no sanitation, there is no toilet at all, access to toilet at all at the workplace, particularly for the construction workers. Anytime building will be constructed, there is no condition that a toilet should be erected first before starting the building. If it is an institution building like university, definitely there will be facility, but for the others, it is not. So that is the major issue that I found in the construction sector workers. So the women, why the women's work participation is very poor? There are many reasons. One is the absence of the basic needs also. But despite that, here the livelihood is an issue. When I ask them, why don't you make it as an represent to their employers to first construct a toilet and give and start the work? No, so they say, because I described already what is the vulnerability in the morning, around 4,000 will be there, the contractor will call, and there is likely that at least 100-200 members will go out without work, because whatever is required will be. And these women are coming from a rural area where there is no employment, and in the families where there is no members of the family. That is also revealed in the study that roughly about 35% were widows. In the sanitation, it was 40% widows, because many men die with liquor consumption for a long, in the early age, within 40 or 45. So these women take care of either the compassionate ground work is being offered, or so what I am trying to say that the very vulnerable condition of work, exploitative condition of work is also there. You are getting more work in the liberalization context, more women, we will see the surface level, more women are found everywhere, and therefore, but it is not even a critical mass. Critical mass means 30% should be there. It is not there. It is less than 30%. That is the state of affair. And many of the workers who are engaged in home-based work or other work is not being counted, and therefore that is not also. So there are a number of researches by the feminist economists to account for this unproductive care, social reproductive activities or unpaid care work, which is still called as the unproductive work in the economic context. And the time use survey is one method. Even my own Center for Women's Development Studies just completed a study with help of ILO to along with the labor force survey, they have integrated time use survey. Only then you will definitely really come to know what is the kind of number of hours that the women spend on the unpaid care work and how it is to be accounted for. So what I am trying to suggest in this context, see, there are many things in the context over this employment itself, and the pattern of employment changed, and new areas also emerged, and you all are aware of the platform economy, the gig economy, where women are employed either as self-employed or as wage employment, wherein there will be an app system, urban company and other such Ola, Uber. In Ola and Uber and all, it's men only, but in some other areas, women. But particularly health sector, women are also involved. And there will be a call, app-based, they will register with app-based and they will go and attend at home or whatever. So that way, I also did a study on the gig economy, so I come to know that there is a flexibility. It is capturing to the requirement of women. Whenever there is a call, either they can attend or they can say that, no, I am engaged with my work. But say for example, I am going there to hospital taking the child, then at that time I cannot go. So afternoon there is a call, I will attend. So that kind of a flexibility is being accommodated. So gig economy is one area, or platform economy, whatever you call the digital economy, where you also now cooker app, where women sit at home and through that cooker app, they cook and serve like hotels. They can also, it's homemade food is going from the women. So these kind of changes are happening, and when we really discuss with them, there are also equally some exploitation in the name of like they cannot attend any other work. They have to be confining to this. Supposing if I am calling that particular person, I am the customer, then next time if I call her without not through the app, if she attends, then if they capture that the woman who is supposed to be through the app to come and attend, now she is not, then they will stop the work, and there is no union. and the payment they pay also is relatively better compared to other work, but it is, for example, 1 hour you will come and attend the elderly women, or 2 hour you will be attending and going, hardly 1,000, and 1,000 also you have to pay 40% to the company, so 600 is left with. That's what in our studies. So there are new opportunities opened up, and service economy is also now with, you have the artificial intelligence again replacing the robotics, and others are also slowly coming, and the social media and other Instagram, the women are utilizing the facilities available, so that we can count it as positive developments in the communication revolution era or in the digital era, which are all part of the liberalization context. But the conditions of work and the vulnerability in terms of the wage fixation, and whether long hours of work, extra hours of work charged is being paid, particularly I could say in the garment sector, in the sanitation sector also not paid, and the basic facilities. And also one more important is the sexual harassment workplaces. We have a law, POSH Act being implemented, and whether that law is really, even yesterday we had Women's Day program with Canadian High Commission there in Delhi. There these questions, even the politicians, women in politics also, that is a different area, how the women in politics perform or not able to be performed because of the pressures from the so-called masculine muscle power or money power, which often women are not able to, and therefore the getting seats to the contest itself is an issue, and we are going to have 33% reservation. So in what we are the way out, the one important thing is that the complete absence of collectivism in the context of liberalization, which is the part of privatization also, and whatever the commercial component in everything. If you look back, any advertisement for that, it is not necessary that the women need to be presented, or women in the very what I should say, half naked is to be presented, but for the commercial purposes they will exploit, and that is also the outcome of, because without advertisement the liberalization context will not sustain, the economies will not sustain, and therefore the exploitation of the women and their bodies is also, or objectification of women, whether it is the advertisement industry or other entertainment industry, are also part of the outcome of this. That in the absence of collectivism you cannot, or unionization, you cannot represent. So there is a need to do that women come together, and whatever they need they have to collectively represent her. The original what you call women's movement is dying. It's almost died, and we have now identity politics, and where you want to identify yourselves with some group and really not working, even including even higher education institution, teachers association. So they the spirit in which, for example, if something wrong in the policy, that association should organize series of seminars, discussion, and represent their own views. Those kind of, the scope for those kind of initiatives are completely absent, and therefore we are very silent. You are silenced, that is what. And the other important thing is that the nature of employment. So new employment opportunities are coming, but at the same time we are done away with the traditional employment. So it is very much required to revive the economy. We did talk enough about rural development, rural industrialization, etc. But somewhere we failed to concentrate in reviving agriculture, and we do observe how farmers are struggling for the minimum support price, and how this farming community should be recognized, and we have to respect their demands on the one hand, and we also associate ourselves, because ultimately food security is very important. And if you keep on diversifying our land in the name of crop diversification, in the name of crops or real estate development, at the end of the day we will be ending up with food insecurity, and that we need to really depend on others. So that is one area in the LPG, that is liberalization, globalization and privatization context that we need to go. And the third important context I already told that it is all the stakeholders' responsibilities, including educational institutions. So whenever I take my research, that is the blessing in the women's studies. It is not simply take up research. When I was in economics, I took up researchers, published papers, and then moved to another research project. But what we did in women's studies, we also implemented or moved towards action research. So what we do was like I implemented my own findings of research to some institutionalizing some initiatives. For example, I did a study on women entrepreneurs development, and the findings informed that women mostly are found in micro enterprises, they are in non-conventional enterprises, and they are not getting any formal credit from bank, etc. So I converted that into objective of an organization and initiate an organization and given to the people to govern. That's called Women Entrepreneurs Association of Tamil Nadu. For the past 20 years it has been working, and whatever these areas, women should go to beyond micro enterprise, should go to get formal credit, should go to conventional, non-conventional enterprises, etc. were very much attended, and we approached BHL, which is located in Trichy, to accommodate women vendors also. So for first time in the history of 60 years of Tamil BHL's existence, 60 women could be taken to BHL as engineering and fabrication units entrepreneurs, and those women were not engineers, they are school dropouts, they were taken to NIT Trichy to offer welding training, and they trained at the age of 40-45. They got trained, and now they are really well versed with what are the engineering fabrication vendors from BHL to do, and they are very well performing, also getting best performing award also. And I also with the UNICEF support worked for about a decade on menstrual hygiene management or different facets, and found that adolescent girls in the rural area really not getting scientific information on menstrual hygiene, and therefore created Menstrual Hygiene Management Consortium, and that is really going with the state, and Tamil Nadu is supplying the free sanitary napkin, and that is the outcome of these researches. So you create structures, and also we have women's studies. That in the south there is lack of support to women's study centers, so we created a regional association for women's studies, and that is also catering. So institutionalization and their support from the educational institutions, being the higher education institution, and that too here it is a women's university. We have also directly connected with the community development and the overall development of the economy. It is not that we will confine only to higher education, and that is really happening in this Women's Day program also. I could see the women entrepreneurs products are being brought, and students also involved there, and a lot of other activities are also. So it is not just Women's Day, national conference is happening, but you do integrate with other activities, and that is the spirit, and that should be the perspective on which the Women's Day. I didn't even say what is Women's Day. Women's Day is simply now celebrated, but those were the days we fought for 8 hours of work from the 16 hours of work, and many lives have been sacrificed, and remembering that day we have declared this, Clara Zetkin 1910 declared this as the Women's Day, and we have gone through the very capitalist attack which had happened earlier. Now with the capitalist system itself is sponsoring, so that is the travel journey we have made for the past century or so, and we have already celebrated that 100 years of Women's Day in 2010, and we have still 14 more years crossed, but there are new questions arising, new forms of, particularly the gender-based violence is an important concern. When you are talking about development, you cannot have violence also coexisting, and that will be a hindrance to development, and therefore we need to also focus on that. And ultimately the economic development will be holistic only when it is integrated with both the kind of issues that are prevailing in the economy for the marginalized, and therefore the focus should be on empowering the marginalized, integrating into the development process, which is slowly happening, but it has to happen rapidly. And on the other hand, the women who constitute roughly to 50% should be integral part of the development process, which is not happening because it is very much evidence in the employment participation rate itself. So there is a need to integrate women and the marginalized into the development process in the name of inclusive development, not simply treating them as beneficiaries anymore. That is the message I want to give in this day, and therefore you have to invest on women and the marginalized. I always add the women into the marginalized too. Next to that, the marginalized also, they are also irrespective of men and women, the marginalized community, whether it is the tribal community or scheduled caste community or the disabled population or the rural, remote, inaccessible people, whoever it may be. That is what I mean, the marginalized. So they should also be integral part and recognize their agency and make the development process complete, holistic, with integrating everyone who are otherwise excluded from the system. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Once again, I am happy to inaugurate this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor N. Mani Mekalai, Director, Center for Women's Development Studies, New Delhi, for your valuable insights towards the social science and the development studies regarding the women. And you also have elaborated regarding the Maria Mai's feminist views as well as the whole women development activities and how the women should be respected and how the women work should be considered. All the views are expressed by Professor N. Mani Mekalai Madam. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I call upon Hasina Aksinmani, Research Scholar, Department of Sociology, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women University, to introduce the resource person, Srimati Sharda Patil.
Good afternoon to all, respected madam and sir. On the dais of the dais, today I am introducing our research person, Madam Srimati Sharda Patil. Madam has born in Nandihal village, Basavanabagewadi Taluk, Vijaypur district. Madam has completed their primary education in Nandihal village. Madam has completed their high school education and PU education in Basveshwar Institute, Bagalkot. Madam has completed their MSc degree in Karnataka Open University. Madam Srimati Sharda Patil is a renowned education person with over 25 years of experience in the field. Ma'am has served in various roles throughout her career, including teaching, lecturer and principal. Since 2015, Madam Srimati Sharda Patil is a founder and president of the Aditya Foundation. Under her leadership, the foundation has made a significant impact in the education sector, providing support and resources to students and teachers. The Aditya Foundation has trained over 5,000 students to make them employable in different sectors such as IT, IITS, electronics, banking and finance, offering them the opportunity to secure a better future. Srimati Sharda Patil Madam achievements in the education sector are many and notable, like receiving the Kannada Kanmani Award from Kannada Sahitya Samskriti Samsthe Chikkamangaluru, serving as a member of Internal Assessment Committee for DIET Dharwad, training over 5,000 youth under various training programs. Ma'am, providing mentorship for various unemployed youth and empowering them to seek jobs opportunities. Madam, taking a part as a resource person in a workshop conducted by the Sagar College of Education, Belagavi. Madam wrote a book was entitled Criminology for Competitive Exams and All India radio programs on women's issues and importance of the medical planets. Shrimati Sharda Patil Madam is a highly experienced education professional who has dedicated her career to improving the quality of education for students and teachers. Her work and leadership in the education sector, especially through the Aditya Foundation, are truly admirable and have possibly impact in the lives of many students. Recognizing these achievements, ma'am has nominated as a syndicate member of the Davangere University by the Honorable Governor of Karnataka. We are very happy and proud to you have ma'am one-day seminar and very warm and heartfelt welcome to our university. And I thank to all to give me the opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Hasina Agsimani, for introducing the resource person, and I also request Dr. Saroja Santi, Research Associate, Women Studies Center, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women University, Vijaypur, to introduce one more resource person of this conference, Dr. Sanjoti VK, filmmaker and Assistant Professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, Bangalore.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸಂಜೋತಿ ವಿ ಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷ ಮತ್ತು ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಪರಿಚಯ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿದೆ, ಆದರೂ ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತಗೊಳಿಸಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಖ್ಯಾತ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಚಿಂತಕಿ ಮೇರಿ ಉಲ್ಸ್ಟನ್ ಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿರುವಂತೆ, ಮಹಿಳೆ ಪುರುಷರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಹೊಂದಲಿ ಎಂದು ಬಯಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ತಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ತಾವೇ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಹೊಂದಲಿ ಎಂದು ಆಶಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ ಎಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಂತೆ ಇವರ ಜೀವನ ಇರುವುದು ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇವರು ಬಹುಮುಖಿ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರೊಬ್ಬ ಲೇಖಕಿ, ನಟಿ, ಬೋಧಕಿ, ಸಂಶೋಧಕಿ, ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ ನಿರ್ಮಾಪಕರು, ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇವರೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು MA ಅರ್ಥಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು MBA ಪದವಿಯನ್ನು ಪೂರೈಸಿ PhD ಅಧ್ಯಯನವನ್ನು ಮೈಸೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ PhD ಪದವಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡರು. 15 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಬೋಧನಾ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಖ್ಯಾತ ಪೆಸೆಟ್, ಅಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ನ್ಯೂ ಹಾರಿಜನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್, ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮುಂತಾದ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋಧನಾ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಆಡಳಿತಗಾರರಾಗಿಯೂ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಆಗಿಯೂ, ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿಯೂ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹಾಯಕ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇವರೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಚಿಂತಕರು. ತಮ್ಮ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬರಹ, ಭಾಷಣ, ಲೇಖನಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ದಾಖಲಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಜನಪ್ರಿಯ ತುಂಬ ಪರಿಣಾಮಕಾರಿ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾದ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ, ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ಸಹ ನಿರ್ಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 2015ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ತಯಾರಿಸಿದ ಚೊಚ್ಚಲ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳಾದ ಓ ಮೈ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ರೇನ್ಬೋ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರಗಳು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಿವೆ. 2017ರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಮಿಸಿದ ಅನಲಾಗ್ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಿಂದ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಗೌರವಿಸಿದೆ. ಈ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರ ಲಾಸ್ ಏಂಜಲಸ್ ಸಿನಿಫೆಸ್ಟ್, ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲಿಫೋರ್ನಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಇಟಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಜಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದ ಸಿನಿಮೋತ್ಸವಗಳಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಸಹ ಅಂತಿಮ ಸುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೊಂಡಿರುವುದು ಇವರ ಸೃಜನಶೀಲ ಮತ್ತು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಸಂವೇದನೆಯನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಪನೋರಮಾ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರೋತ್ಸವ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಂಡಿವೆ. ನಿಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರೋತ್ಸವ ಮತ್ತು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಸಿನಿಮೋತ್ಸವಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ ಗೌರವಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾತ್ರವಾಗಿವೆ. ಈ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರ ಜನಮಾನಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂವಾದ, ಚರ್ಚೆ, ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿಹಾಕಿದೆ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಖ್ಯಾತ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಚಿಂತಕಿ ಜಿಲ್ ಬೇಡನ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಐ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅ ವುಮನ್ಸ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹೆಲ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಎನ್ನುವುದನ್ನು ಈ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಈ ಕಿರುಚಿತ್ರವನ್ನೇ ನೋಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಇವರು ಪ್ರಖ್ಯಾತ ಸ್ತ್ರೀರೋಗ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಸೂತಿ ತಜ್ಞೆಯಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಲೀಲಾವತಿ ದೇವದಾಸ್, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಚಿಂತಕರಾದ ಪುಟ್ಟಮ್ಮ ಮತ್ತು ಜಗದ್ವಿಖ್ಯಾತ ನಾಟಕ ಶಾಲೆಯಾದ ನಿನಾಸಂ ಮತ್ತು ಗೌರಿ ಲಂಕೇಶ್ ಕುರಿತು ಸಾಕ್ಷ್ಯಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರದ ಧೂಳು ನಾಟಕದ ಸಹ ರಚನಾಕಾರರು ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಹಲವು ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನಗಳನ್ನು ಕಂಡಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಇವರು ರಕ್ತವರ್ಣನೆ ನಾಟಕದ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪಾತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಸಹ ಅಭಿನಯಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 2019ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಹದಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾದ ಪ್ರದೇಶದ ಬಡ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ 1,000 ಮುಟ್ಟಿನ ಕಪ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸಹ ವಿತರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಅರಿವು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ, ತರಬೇತಿ, ಸಭೆ, ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನ, ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರಗಳಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಸಹ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಹಲವು ಬಾನುಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಅರಿವಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕಾಗಿಯೇ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಯ ಜಾಲಿ ರೈಡ್ ಕಾಲಂ ಬರಹರಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಇವರು ಹಲವಾರು ಲೇಖನಗಳು ವಾರ್ತಾಭಾರತಿ, ನಾನು ಗೌರಿ, ಹಿತೈಷಿಣಿ, ಸುದ್ದಿ ದಿನ, ಪ್ರಜಾವಾಣಿ, ಸಂಯುಕ್ತ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮುಂತಾದ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟವಾಗಿವೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಚಿಂತಕಿ ಬಹುಮುಖಿ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಉಳ್ಳವರು. ಇಂದು ಸ್ತ್ರೀವಾದಿ ಚಿಂತಕಿ ಮರಿಯಾ ಮಿಸ್ ಅವರ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನದಲ್ಲಿ ಉದಾರೀಕರಣದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಿಳಾ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಶಕ್ತೀಕರಣದ ಅರ್ಥೈಸುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತನಾಡಲು ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವುದು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸಂತೋಷವನ್ನು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಇವರ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಸಂಘಟಕರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ.
Thank you, ma'am, for introducing such a wonderful personality, Dr. Sanjyoti VK, filmmaker and assistant professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, Bengaluru. And now, I request all the dignitaries on the dais to release the edited book, Maria Mais, Women Development in the Context of Liberalization, edited by Professor Lakshmi Devi Y, Professor MP Badigar, Professor R.V. Gangshetti and Dr. Ramesh M. Son Kamble sir. Thank you all dignitaries on the dais for releasing the book. Now I'd like to call Dr. Kirti Honwad, Guest Faculty, Department of Economics, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women University, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all the dignitaries, professor, faculty and participants. Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women University, Vijaypura UGC Women Studies Center, Department of Sociology, Economics and Social Work jointly organized one-day national conference in the remembrance of Mary's on women development in the context of liberalization. I take this opportunity to extend sincere gratitude to chief guest and keynote speaker of this conference, Professor N. Mani Mekalai, Ma'am, Director, Center for Women's Development Studies, New Delhi, in spite of being very busy scheduled, who accepted our invitation to be the keynote speaker for this one-day national conference. I, on the behalf of the university participant and on my personal behalf, I extend sincere gratitude to you, ma'am. It's my pride to extend sincere thanks to Professor B.K. Tulsimala ma'am, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women University, Vijaypura, for presiding over one-day national conference. I, on the behalf of all the organizing departments, participants, and on my own behalf, I extend heartfelt thanks to you, ma'am. I extend my thanks to Sri Shankar Gowda Somnal sir, Registrar of our university, in absence, for encouragement support to organize this conference. Thank you, sir. At the same time, I extend my thanks to Professor H.M. Chandrasekhar sir, Registrar Evaluation of our university, in absence. Thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude to the resource person of the sessions, Srimati Sharda Patil, founder and chairperson, Aditya Foundation, Dharwad. I, on the behalf of the university participant and my own behalf, thank you, ma'am. I thank another resource person of the session, Dr. Sanjoti V.K. ma'am, filmmaker and assistant professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, Bangalore. I, on the behalf of the university participant and on my own behalf, I extend gratitude to you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I also thank the chairpersons and rapporteurs of all the sessions of this conference. I also thank women achievers of different areas and fields who are present for the one-day national conference. Thank you. I extend my gratitude to Professor Lakshmi Devi Y. ma'am, Chairperson, Director Ahalya Bai, PG Center for Women Study, Research and Extension. Thank you, ma'am, for organizing the conference. And I thank Professor Shanta Devi T. ma'am, Dean, Faculty of Social Science. Thank you, ma'am. And I also thank Professor R.V. Gangshetty sir, Chairperson, Department of Economics, Professor M.P. Balagar sir, Chairperson, Department of Sociology, Dr. Ramesh Sonkamble sir, Chairperson, Department of Social Work. I thank all the organizing departments and heads for organizing this conference. I extend sincere thanks to chairpersons of various departments, deans, teaching and non-teaching staffs, media persons, participants and paper presenters, research scholars and students. Last but not the least, I extend sincere thanks to all the individuals who directly or indirectly supported for organizing this conference. I thank you one and all.
Thank you, Kirti Honwa. Now there is a note for students and faculty members and the scholars.